Yo, what's up? It's Chris over at Breezy's Gaming Corner, and in today's video, I'm gonna be ranking the vaults from Fallout New Vegas and just discussing my thoughts on them. And be sure to stick around for my first place pick because I don't think it's gonna be the vault that you expect it to be. Now, vaults and Fallout go hand in hand. You can't have one without the other, and the series definitely has some pretty iconic vaults. New Vegas is no slouch in this department, but it's also kinda weird because while New Vegas has some of the best vaults in the entire series, it's also got some really lame ones, which we are definitely going to get into. And don't get me wrong, I know that there are definitely some worse vaults that were not in New Vegas, but I'm not going to be discussing any vaults outside of New Vegas in today's video. And as always, if you enjoyed today's video, please be sure to drop a like as it greatly helps the channel out a ton. And if you're a fan of weekly gaming content, consider subscribing. I post every Friday and I'd love to have you here. Alright, so with that out of the way, let's not delay any further. Let's get right into it, starting with last place at number 6. At number 6, I got Vault 3. And I know, most people pick Vault 21 for the last place vault, but I'm not gonna do that. Just hear me out. What it really came down to for this last place pick is which one had the more interesting backstory, and I just did not find the backstory for Vault 3 to be that interesting. Essentially, to give you a quick rundown, there was a water leak leading to a shortage of water, so the vault residents had to start rationing their water accordingly. The overseer wanted to open the vault and make contact with civilization to potentially get the components they need to fix their water issue. Sound familiar? This situation ultimately led them to opening up the vault to Motor Runner and his gang of fiends. Now, unless you're a friend of the fiends, there's nothing to do here except for kill Motor Runner, and I don't know why you would come here to do anything but that because fuck the fiends. Another thing this vault did that really pissed me off is that it teased some cool underwater weapons room where you feel like you're gonna get a reward for having to go through this. But when you get there, it's literally just a locker full of common weapons. There's nothing special here whatsoever, at least from what I found. I think the biggest sin this vault commits is that it's just plain uninteresting, and that's why it's in my last place. Alright, so it wasn't in my last place, but in my second to last place at number 5, unsurprisingly, is going to be Vault 21. I'm sure I really don't even need to go into why, because this is literally just a hotel. There's not really anything to do here. But why did it rank above Vault 3? The backstory. That is literally it. It just has a better backstory. So Vault 3 was built on the ruins of Old Vegas, and the residents on the inside would solve their problems through the use of gambling because they believed that luck was the biggest unbiased deciding factor. Now eventually, when Mr. House started rebuilding New Vegas, he contacted the vault dwellers and essentially told them that he needed to fill the bottom portion of their vault with concrete because it was a security risk to him. Whatever he was offering must have been pretty good because the vault dwellers agreed, opened up the vault to him, and sealed off the lower levels for good. It now stands in New Vegas as a historical monument hotel where you can stay the night in a real-life vault. Now, this might not be the creepiest vault in the series, and it might not have as deep environmental storytelling as the other vaults, but one thing it does really well is just being cool. And that's why I put it above Vault 3, because I just did not find Vault 3 to be that interesting. And that's why Vault 21 takes the number 5 spot. At number 4, we got Vault 19, and I think this vault is actually really interesting because unlike the other vaults in the series, this one has 2 overseers controlling 2 different sectors, the red sector and the blue sector. And this was one of those vaults that underwent one of those fucked up social experiments from Vault Tech. Essentially, the vault residents were poisoned through the air vents, resulting in paranoia, psychosis, and extreme levels of distrust between the 2 sectors. By the time we get there, the original residents are already gone, and the vault is being inhabited by a group of powder gangers, specifically the ones responsible for the prison break at the NCR Correctional Facility. The powder gangers weren't even the ones that killed the residents because according to them, the vault was already vacant by the time they got there. I think this is a really cool vault vault because it's essentially the continuation and conclusion of the Powder Gangers storyline, because if you follow through with the quest, you can essentially have the Powder Gangers just join up with the Great Khans. The vault has some interesting lore and a nice quest to go along with it, but it ranks pretty much in the middle of the list because the other vaults on here I just think do things a little better. Alright, so we're breaking into the top 3, and at number 3 we got Vault 34. Now Vault 34 has a really interesting storyline, and I do like the combat involved. A lot of people don't, but I do like how there are ghouls all over the vault. It adds a level of difficulty that the other vaults just don't really have. The only negative I really have to this vault is that it's just a pain in the ass to explore. There's a lot of corridors that lead to nowhere, and it's just not the funnest place to traverse in the game. Now, I'm not going to get too much into the backstory of this vault because I'm going to do a full-length video on it, but essentially the quick version is that this vault was home to the Boomer faction. The residents were very gun happy, and they were having a dispute with the Overseer because the Overseer was trying to limit the vault residents' access to the armory. Now this resulted in a revolt, and during the revolt something happened on reactor level that essentially caused radiation to flood the entire vault, turning everybody into ghouls. Now the Boomer faction is one of my favorite factions in the game, so naturally I'm really gonna like this vault because it kinda touches up on their origin story in a way. The only thing keeping this vault away from the number 2 or number 1 spot is just traversing it. It's such a pain in the ass that I really don't have a good time while I'm here. I just enjoy the story of the vault, so much so that it ranks at number 3. At number 2, I got Vault 11, and I know, a lot of you are probably gonna think I'm crazy for not putting this at number 1. But there is one more vault in this game that I think was just more visually diverse and just a lot cooler. But that's not to say that Vault 11 is not cool on its own. It has a really cool story that's told primarily through data terminals. Essentially, the residents of Vault 11 believe that they have to sacrifice their Overseer once a year. This leads to yearly elections where the candidates essentially try to convince everybody why they should not be in charge versus why they should be in charge, because they don't want to get sacrificed. Underneath the Overseer's office leads a tunnel to the sacrificial chamber where you sit down and watch this really weird, lighthearted, and kind of disturbing video.
Greetings, martyr, and welcome. If you're here now, it means you've been offered up as a sacrifice so that your vault can continue to thrive.
And at the end of the video, laser robots appear and try to kill you. It's only then that you get to the mainframe and you discover that the real goal of this vault was a social experiment in humanity. You were never supposed to sacrifice one of the Overseers, and if the residents went an entire year without making a sacrifice, they would have been granted freedom to leave the vault, access to the entire wasteland. Now this vault was just super thought-provoking, and it didn't even really happen off of a main marked quest. This is all from stuff that you find on data terminals, which I think is super cool. But there was one vault that I think was just a tad bit cooler. It was actually really hard deciding between my number 2 and my number 1, but I do like the visual diversity of this vault. And of course, the vault that I'm referring to sitting at the number 1 place is Vault 22. Now Vault 22 is another one of those vaults that I'm going to eventually make a full video for, so I'm not going to go super deep into the story, but long story short, they were experimenting with genetic variants of plants. This resulted in spores being released through the vault, infecting and making sick all of their residents. Now this vault really has it all. It's got a super cool backstory, it's got diverse enemy types, and it's the most different looking location in pretty much all of Fallout New Vegas. It even has a badass weapon as a reward in the form of the AER-14 prototype laser rifle. Really, the only negative I could think about this vault is finding that damn cave door access key, but other than that, everything else about this vault is great, and I honestly really like it. I like it more than Vault 11, which is precisely why it ended up at the number 1 spot on this list. What about you guys? How are you guys feeling about the rankings of this list? Would you do anything any different? Let me know in the comments below. And as always, if you like this video, be sure to drop a like as it greatly helps the channel out a ton. And if you're into honest weekly gaming content and you'd like to see more, consider subscribing. I post every Friday and I'd love to have you there. And that's pretty much all I got for you guys this week. Thanks a ton for watching. I greatly appreciate it, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.